All right, thanks again for coming out and just wrapping up Eastern Michigan. I thought it was another good MAC win for us. It finished up a very good October. You know, our defense played extremely well. I thought Bronson Hill was an excellent running back, and we did a nice job of limiting the run seams and a nice job of tackling him and just limiting Eastern Michigan's offense to 178 yards. You know, in light of what they did the previous 2 weeks, I thought it was an outstanding performance by our defense. Our offense did a lot of things well. I love the fact that we held on to the ball for almost 35 minutes. I love the fact that with 9 minutes and 10 seconds left in the game, that our offense kept the ball for the rest of the game and we finished with the ball. I like the fact that we're running the football so well, 225 yards. I thought John Pettigrew stepped up and played extremely well. I thought the offensive line played well. You know, right now we're not throwing the ball as efficiently as we need to. You know, and there's going to be games here that we're probably going to have to open up a little bit. And, you know, that's something that clearly we've got to work on in practice. And we devoted almost all day practice today to just working on throwing the football more efficiently, and it's really at all three levels. We got to protect better. We got to run better routes, and when we're protected and the routes are right, we've got to throw the ball in the money better. So that's certainly something that we need to improve on moving forward here. So, you know, I think going into November, we're right where we want to be. We have a chance to compete for the MAC championship, and it sets up a huge game with Ohio a week from today, next Wednesday, at Ohio on national television, and that'll be a big challenge for our program in all three phases. You can certainly argue that Ohio has been the most successful and most consistent program in the MAC over the last 4 years, and you know, especially in the East. And you know, they're dynamic and explosive on offense. You know, they're averaging over 34 points a game. You know, they're averaging over 450 yards a game. I think a lot of it starts with their quarterback, Tettleton. I mean, he is a dual threat quarterback. He can run it, he can throw it. His ability to make plays off of broken plays is, I think, what sets him apart. That he is very good within the design of their offense with their zone read game and their power read game and their drop back passing game. What makes him especially dangerous is you can have everybody defended and you can get pressure on him and he'll escape and create big plays. And those type of plays almost single-handedly beat us last year. I mean, he made so many plays with his feet that we had plays well defended and we couldn't get him on the ground. And he's continuing to do that this year. He's getting even better. And I think it's one of the best offensive lines in the conference. They're very, very well coached. They're extremely physical. It's a veteran group. You know, they have 2 guys on their line that are 2 or 3 guys that are NFL prospects. This will be one of the most physical offensive lines that we play all year. Their running back, Blankenship, is having a great season. He already has over 1,000 yards. He is a load, and he is a lot faster than people probably give him credit for. He's got really good straight line speed, and when he hits a seam, he is into the 3rd level very quickly. And they have dynamic receivers who can make plays. So it's all the elements of a really good offense. They have a quarterback who's dynamic, who can make plays with his feet, a physical offensive line, you know, one of the elite tailbacks in the conference, and good receivers and a good tight end. Defensively, you know, I've always thought Ohio is one of the most fundamentally sound, well-coached defenses that we play every year. And this year they're, I think, 3rd in scoring defense, they're 5th in total defense, they're 2nd in rushing defense. They're just, they do a great job there of just developing players, and it seems like every year they graduate a bunch of seniors and then they replace them with a bunch of juniors and seniors. And I just think it's a reflection that you have a head coach and a staff that's in their 8th year in the program, and they've established what they do, and their players understand it, and they're hard to make big plays on. They're very fundamentally sound. They know how to line up. They read their keys. The way their safeties and their corner support is as fast, and they trigger as fast as anybody that we play in the conference. And you know, obviously with special teams, their kicker Weller is one of the best in the conference. So they're very talented. Their record certainly reflects that, and it's going to be a really big challenge to go down to their place next Wednesday and play a very, very good Ohio team.
Coach, how does having 10 days, a week and a half, kind of help, or does it help or hurt your preparation?
I think overall it helps. I think sometimes when you're playing well, you want to keep playing. Right now, I think our guys have a lot of confidence, and we've been on a pretty good roll here. When you're in that, you hate breaking it up. But by the same token, we've played 9 straight games, and I think the rest helped our guys. We gave them off Monday. We gave them off yesterday. We practiced just for an hour and a half today. Just kind of broke a sweat and really went over some fundamental things. So, I think there's no question it helps to get rested, but I also think when you're playing well, you want to keep playing.
At the same time, I mean, athletes are all about rhythm. Do you like these weekday games in terms of throwing off the rhythm?
I'm just laughing because every year for 4 years,
it has to be asked.
Yeah, I mean, I think football coaches especially we're creatures of habit. We like to do this. Sunday at 1 o'clock we do this. Sunday at 3 o'clock we do this. Monday, I mean, our week is very structured in terms of what we do, in terms of game planning and meetings. And obviously when you play a Wednesday night game at 8 o'clock at night, it throws your rhythm off, but we're used to it. It happens every year. And fortunately for us this year, we only have one of those games. There's been years in the past that we've had at least 2, if not 3 of them. And it sets up nice. We don't get a full bye week, but we get 2 kind of half a bye weeks. So it's 11 or 12 days between Eastern and Ohio, and then we'll get not quite as big a break between the next game. So I think if you talk to our players, they probably enjoy it. It's nice to get a little break and charge the batteries. But again, we're playing a really good football team.
With no disrespect to Buffalo, these next 2 games, in a sense, is sort of
we don't even think ahead. I know you always try to get us thinking ahead. Ohio's huge. It's at this point in the year when you're playing for a championship, every game is a championship game. So we've told that to our players starting October. It started with Akron. It was championship game number 1. Because if you don't take care of business, the next one, potentially has less meaning. And this is it. This game is huge. For the last 3 years, we've been, working extremely hard to try to be able to play in a game like this that has meaning and has significance in the MAC East. And, so this is it. This is a huge game, and our focus is completely on Ohio, which it should be. We're playing a team that has 1 loss, and, they play tomorrow night, but they're as good as it's been in our conference, certainly since we've been here as a staff.
We know you don't like the midweek game, but they have all this time off to prep for Ohio. There's got to be a good thing about it, other than the players, having time to rest and all that. But this championship, as you just kind of allude to it, the nation's going to get a chance to watch the MAC race play out on national television. I mean,
yeah.
Ohio was ranked at some point. Toledo's knocking on the door. You're probably not too far away.
Well, and again, whether it was design or accident, I think every team that's in contention in the MAC East, we all play each other the next month. The only exception being we've already played Miami, and Miami's already played Ohio. So, all of these games are going to have major significance. So it's exciting to be in a pennant race. And that's what it is. We're to make the baseball analogy. We're at a pennant race, and we're one of the teams in it. But we want to be standing here a week from tomorrow, still being in it and controlling our destiny with it. And obviously, we have to go to Ohio and play well for that to happen.
Does it make it easy to prep for Ohio, knowing that they just lost to Miami, so you have that game tape plus what they play tomorrow? So you've got 2 games in that.
No, they're good. It is so hard to go undefeated. And if you see how they lost that game, they had the ball inside the 10-yard line down 3. And, Miami had a big-time play on defense and sacked them, and they ran out of time. But, Ohio is a very good program with very good players, and I have no doubt they'll bounce back. And, I think their quarterback's a winner. He's made so many plays the last 2 years. And, you just watch the film. And like I said, lot of times you get caught up in record, things like that. Our players watch the film. Our players right now are very smart, they're very savvy, they know how to study film. It's been a fun thing about coaching this team is, we don't have to get up in front of them and make, we're not making things up and below. We just say, watch the film. You can say what you want about Eastern Michigan, but you watch the film. Bronson Hill was a good tailback. And our guys have played against Ohio. Chris Jones has gone against their offensive line. They are a physical group that they knock people off the ball. And their back is excellent, and the quarterback can make plays. And they're really not a defense that has ever let teams go up and down the field. I mean, they probably had a game earlier in the year that they didn't play as well as they characteristically do, but they're always very solid. And it's at their place, and I think any time in this league you go on the road, it's a little tougher. And we're certainly proud right now that we're 4-0 at home, and we prefer playing at home, and I'm sure Ohio does too.
Would it be fair to characterize yourself as an offensive coach, that you are more involved in the offense than the defense?
I'm probably here equally involved. I mean, at practice, I probably spend most of my time running the offensive scout team. So I'm probably with the defense more in practice than the offense, but I like to think I'm involved in both sides.
Okay. I was going to preface that by saying sometimes for an offensive coach, it's hard to let his team play defense and knowing that they're going to win you games. And that's how this team has kind of evolved this year.
I love it.
I mean, Baltimore.
I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, and I've been a head coach for 13 years, and I've had teams that win by outscoring people. I've had teams that find ways to win by playing defense and ball control and running the football. I don't care how we win. I really don't. I just, when the game's over, I want to have more points than the other team. And, in 2009, we played in the way that we were going to have to outscore people. We were better on offense than defense. We had a tremendously talented quarterback, a big-time receiver, an offensive line that was more geared to pass protect and run block. And on defense, we were very average that year. And so we played in a way that we were going to play fast on offense and try to score points. And on defense, that had to be a group that had to generate turnovers. Our yardage totals weren't going to be low, but if we could get extra possessions for the offense, and maybe we took more risks that year on defense trying to create turnovers, because I don't think we felt we could hold up, with normal box counts and playing traditional stuff. And now our team's a little different. Now we're very stout on defense. We're a much more veteran group on defense. And you go across the board in our defense. And yesterday I watched last year's Ohio game. And it's all the same players. I mean, it's Chris Jones, it's Charlie Walker, it's Ted Ouellette, it's Dwayne Woods, it's Gabe Martin, it's Paul Swan, it's Daryl Hunt. It's all the same players. And just it was remarkable how much those guys have improved. Just their body control, their knowledge of the defense. And you expect that with as many guys as we had back. And we knew going into this year that we graduated a lot of receivers on offense. We had 3 new starters on the offensive line. And we're going to play a way that allows us to win. And I think you have to do that every year. I mean, that's the nature of college football. We don't sign guys to long-term 8- and 10-year contracts. The makeup of your team is going to change every year. And so in 2009, I thought there was a certain way we had to play to win. And this year, the way that we have to play to win is a little bit different. And we're doing what we need to do to win football games. And we're fortunate that we have the defense that we have that allows us to play this way. But, we are playing differently on offense because of the defense we have. And one of our goals for every drive is make 2 first downs, flip field position, give them a long field. And that formula has created points for us. When people may say, geez, there's 24 points on the board. When you hold onto the ball for 35 minutes, and when you can hold on the ball for 9 minutes and 10 seconds to finish a game, that's good offense. Doesn't show up in points. But that's hard to do, especially at that point in the game when everybody in the world knows you're going to run the football, and you're still able to do it. So, the offense is doing what they need to do for us to win games. This came up last week. At some point, are we going to have to score more points? Maybe. Can we do it? I don't know. We haven't had to in a while. But that's why we practice, and that's why we work to get better.
Going back to the OU for a second, is there an advantage, I mean, if so, what kind of advantage is it knowing that you've got still a week to prepare and they have a game and then a short week to prepare?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you ask most football coaches, they'd rather have 10 days to prepare than 6 days. But again, if you ask most football coaches, they'd rather play at home than on the road. So, I mean, that's the nature of the schedule. I mean, we've had short weeks here too, and you know when the schedule comes out. I mean, I'm sure UMass loved that they had 2 weeks to get ready for us. And the last few weeks, we've been playing teams for the most part that had a week or a break that we hadn't. So 9 straight games without a break. I mean, our guys were pushed. I think the last 3 or 4 weeks. So, but now we're at this point. Do we enjoy the days off? Absolutely.
A lot of times you hear coaches say that, well, all we do is make our Thursday, Monday, and, flipping the schedule, that it can't be that easy, is it? I mean,
No, but, I mean, we knew we were going to have this game on a Wednesday night, back in June or July. So we've had a schedule in place since then. I mean, we knew what days our players would have off, how we're going to modify our practices.
Attention. An emergency has been reported in this building. Please cease
If we don't go out, it's going to be on film. We didn't go out.
utilizing the nearest.
I guess it's off now. What's your question?
already modified the schedule.
Yeah, I mean, I think the careful thing as a coach is that when you get more time for a game, you got to be careful preparing too much stuff. I think there's a tendency to try to get more offense ready and more defense ready because you have more time to game plan. And when we play Ohio, it's still going to be a 60-minute game. So I think that's, at times on coaches, when you get a bye week or you get extra time, sometimes you hurt yourself by getting too much ready. And it certainly, it helps to have the extra time to digest what they're doing. But we've got to be careful that we don't take that extra time and overload our players and give them too much to execute, in a 60-minute game.
Can you kind of walk us through what the schedule is then? Or is it oversimplifying it to say
No, I mean,
Thursday's Monday?
No, I mean, it's, basically with this week that we get 2 Tuesdays, 2 Wednesdays, a Thursday and a Friday. So tomorrow will be the first of our Tuesday practices. Friday will be the second. I think the one thing that helps a little bit is sometimes when you have a game 8 o'clock at night on a weekday, you're at a disadvantage when you're a morning practice team. Our guys are used to getting up at 5:30 in the morning, being here at 6:15, and practicing between 8:30 and 10:30. So we are going to use the weekend and Friday to practice later, to try to get their body clocks used to sleeping in a little bit more and practicing later in the day, so you don't go from practicing 7, 8 o'clock every morning to playing a game 8 o'clock at night. So we're going to make that adjustment and practice over the weekend and not practice in the morning, go in the afternoon and night to get them used to it. And because we have the extra days, we'll shorten practice a little bit too.
Shortening because you have more time each day then?
Yeah, I mean, we can still get the same amount of reps and the same amount of prep time over more days. So, again, it's week 10 of the season. It's we're into game 10. If we can shorten it a little bit and try to keep it fresh, we think that'll be helpful. So we're not necessarily going to go 2 more full days. We're going to shorten practices just a little bit and try to keep them fresh.
Early on, when you were describing the passing offense, you said it wasn't as efficient. A word that you're using by design. What do you mean when you say you're not throwing as efficiently?
Well, I mean, every play we call an offense and every play and every front and coverage we call on defense has a design way it should be executed. And, to execute the passing game, it has to be 3 levels. Number 1, it has to be protected well. Secondly, the routes have to be run at the right depth and with the correct leverage and getting in the right position on the field. And then the third thing is the ball has to be delivered where it should be, when it should be. And for example, on Saturday, we twice had guys open downfield, wide open, that the protection broke down. And then there was times that we had perfect protection and the route's supposed to break at 12 yards and it broke at 6 yards. So, if the route is just run the correct way, to the fans, it looks like the ball's way overthrown. But when you go back and watch the film, the receiver was 6 yards short on the route. And then there were times that it was well protected, the route was fine, and we didn't throw the ball as well as we needed to. And to be efficient in passing game, you have to do all 3 of those things. And right now, I thought early in the year we were throwing it better than we are right now. And part of it is that we're working on running the ball a lot more in practice just because that's become our identity and our personality. But we're going to have to make some plays in the passing game here. And they can't all be trick plays and double passes. And so if you look at our base pass game, that we did not execute well at all. And 2 weeks ago at Miami, I thought we executed it great. But last week we didn't. And then that's clearly, what do you take from that game? That's clearly the area that we didn't perform as well as we needed to. Especially, like I said, after the game in that second quarter. We had opportunities to really take control of that game in the second quarter. We had field position, we had the wind, and our inability to execute the passing game cost us points. Instead of it being 14-3 at the half, it could have been 21-3 or 24-3 or 28-3. And when you have a chance to put teams away, you have to do it. We didn't do it. And fortunately, in the second half, we got a touchdown on defense again, and we held on to the ball on offense.
When you're assigning the responsibility offensively, I mean, has it been spread evenly between those 3 areas, or?
I'd say in terms of the passing game the other day, yeah. I mean, there was, again, 2 or 3 potential big plays that we had guys open that the protection broke down. So what looks like a throwaway or what looks like a poorly thrown ball is a guy trying to avoid a sack. And then there were times that the route wasn't run the way it should be. You should break it, on a speed break, and he runs a pressure break. And I don't know if the receivers are pressing a little bit, trying to make a play, that they got so anxious that they were open that they broke the route off quickly, but that happened. And again, there's times that we were protected and the route was run the way it should be, and Matt didn't throw the ball as well as he needs to. When he is protected and the route's run correctly, he's got to put the ball in the money. And there were times Saturday he didn't do that. So, I don't know the exact number of plays, but it was almost a third. And that's why today in practice, we really devoted most of practice today to work on the passing game and try to get that cleaned up and the timing down. And that's something you have to work hard at.
Anything else? Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.